a place where Jesus actually pulled aside with his disciples, took the opportunity to come up on the mount and give the beginning of the Sermon of the Mount, teaching to each one of his disciples. And I want to just read through it first and then just make a few comments. So in Matthew chapter 5, starting with verse 1, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountain. And after he sat down, his disciples came to him. He opened his mouth and began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Well, one of the things that just stands out immediately is the statement, blessed, blessed. And it's interesting that the Lord took this opportunity to describe what it is to be blessed by virtue of actually leaving the crowds, leaving, in a sense, the popular setting down below where the people were all around him. There was, in a sense, the popular pull of the fact that he was healing and he was touching people's lives, but he left all of that and he came up on this mountain. And I would say, probably very similar to some of you, not everyone would want to climb up this mountain. Not everyone would actually want to take the time to get more intent on what he had to teach them. And it says, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountain. After he sat down, his disciples came to him. I think the Lord has a way of pulling out those who have a hunger and a thirst for him, those who have a desire to grow spiritually, that would, in a sense, not be those who are superficial in their commitment, but ones that really have a desire to learn of him, to allow him to work personally in their life. And he gives, I think, a special priority to those who have that kind of heart and that kind of hunger and thirst. You know, why did he come and actually say these words first in terms of all the things that he was actually going to teach? A lot of things that he would be teaching in terms of actual practice of life, things that would be really critical in terms of what it really meant to follow God, what it meant to be considered holy, not just in the standard of the Old Testament, but now as he came and what he had to say in terms of each one of the Old Testament commandments that were given. But he doesn't start with any of that. What he starts with is, it says, he opened his mouth and began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Immediately you have to ask the question, what does he mean by blessed? Probably heard many different teachings on this passage, and I've even seen in different translations or paraphrases a substitute of the word happy. Happy are the poor in spirit, for in this case theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Even though I believe that there definitely is, I don't know about the word happy, but there's definitely joy in following the Lord. I think that that word doesn't really grab the full meaning of what blessed means. I think one of the things that just stands out right away is that this word is not an active, but it's a passive word, meaning it's something that is actually a quality that comes to your life by virtue of what God does.